palm reading of a 36-year-old person. We'll basically be reading his particular hand. And before we start the video, I would press I would request you to press the bell icon and don't miss another update. And you can call me or you can email me. These are the phone number and the email that are mentioned here for a paid palmistry reading. Now we straight away head to this particular hand image that we have. The person's age is 36 and he was a little bit concerned regarding his health. The health generally, the main place to look for health is basically the lifeline. This is the lifeline. But this is only your physical health. Money line is your financial health, headline is your mental health, and heartline is your emotional health. So all of these health also matters apart from just the lifeline. And the lifeline basically starts from the edge of the palm under the Mount of Jupiter. This is the area where it starts from, and it is encircling two mounts: the Mount of Mars negative and the Mount of Venus. This is Venus and this is Mars. So Mars is a red planet. Red means anger, aggression, and fire. And Venus is a very very warm planet. It is much more warmer than Mars. So, so it is basically the area of energy, stamina, vitality, desires, and the fuel within this any particular person. So if these areas are not disturbed by what we say are not disturbed, if there are no negative kind of lines out here, negative kinds of lines are something like horizontal kind of lines that people may have on their palm, and people may have these crisscrossing lines over it, but we do not find these particular lines in a major way out here. Many people might have very very small, very very thin kind of lines. So thin lines do have less significance. These kind of lines a person may have, but we don't basically we won't basically give too much of importance to very very thin kind of lines. If there were major lines, if there were deep lines, then basically we would have said that things are negative in this particular person's case. And even if there is no grill, this is a grill, even in spite of a person not having a grill, even if they are horizontal lines, they would have been negative, strong lines only. So it is something like you are traveling in a car. This is the car you are traveling in. The lifeline is your car. This is the path you are traveling on. And then there are few horizontal kind of lines. These horizontal lines are something like strong lines is a truck coming and striking your car, or a train or a plane, anything strong coming and striking your car. And the very, very weak kind of a line, very weak kind of a line basically signifies a scooter or a cycle coming and striking your life. But we do not find any such major line that is there that that kind of affects the lifeline. So in a way, it's a good sign regarding health point of view. People health basically deteriorates if there are as these kind of lines out here. It would mean that the person is misusing his fire, the fire within that particular person. So misusing the fire basically means getting angry over wrong issues. So we don't find this in a major way. It's a very in a very very limited and in a minor way. These things are applying, nothing in a major way. And this area is the area of your fuel. So if there were this grill-like formation out here, so it would signify the person is kind of misusing his fuel. So both things we do not say in anything negative kind. So that's the reason we would say with certainty that things are likely to remain good in his life, and his health might not might not be bad. So this is what basically we can say in a very small way. If you notice one thing, like the lifeline starts something like out here, then it should be making a semicircle something like this, if you notice. But it is kind of moving a little bit inward. It is moving a little bit inward. So inward is basically, it means if it's kind of an inward kind of a thing, it is making a lesser semicircle, so less fire and less fuel. But this is in a very very limited way, and it's not going to apply in a much way. I'm very sure about this. Now we take a look at the heartline, because the heartline is your physical heart condition, how well your heart basically works. So this is basically the line of heart ending under the Mount of Saturn. And Saturn is basically for money, possessions, and wealth. The heartline that ends under the Mount of Saturn, the person is responsible, the person is wise, and the person is grounded, and the person is able to take wise and decisions that are good for making money. So this is Saturn is all the area for money, possessions, and wealth. Most businessmen you would find, or most people who make money, even if they are in service, are people who have their heartline end under the Mount of Saturn. They would try to provide everything to their family before their family asks anything from them. So this is what is basically signifies with the heartline ending under the Mount of Saturn. Now this particular heartline is quite deep and clear and singular kind, so this is considered to be a good sign. There are few branches. You would notice that there are few small branches out here and out here. So this one is a little bit longer, but otherwise the branches are very limited out here. So if there are less branches, the chances are that the person might not get distracted and would remain focused in his life. Many people who have broken kind of heartline out here, we don't find any breaks and all out here. So broken kind of a heartline is a person who is broken in heart, and the person is kind of emotionally, the person gets drained, or the person like kinds of is not able to commit to one particular thing and would abruptly change his work or relationship. We do not find such an indication as well. If there were strong branches over out here, downward branches, that would mean strong distractions, but they are very small branches, so lesser. They are distractions, but in a very limited way. So this is what the heartline is showing. As far as the heartline can say, I can say it with certainty that the heartline is perfect. And if the heartline is perfect, nothing is going to happen to this particular person. Uh, I've seen a person recently who had a heart-related issues. He had a perfect kind of a heartline. He had a perfect kind of a heartline, that the same kind of heartline that this particular person has. But what happened was, when I asked him, when I told him, see, I find that the heartline is perfect. He said that he had that heart issues and all. I said, your functioning, your physical functioning have not like gone down even after that heart attack. He completely agreed with it. He said that I am still running around, I'm still doing as much as I was doing before that heart attack. So this is what is represented when we have an almost good like heart line. So this is what is represented by the heart line. Now we come to the other aspect, that is the sun line. This is basically the carrier line. This is the carrier line out here. This is the carrier line, and even this is the carrier line. This is the sun line. Even these are basically sun lines out here. So there are multiple sun lines out here. But I just draw another line. This is the headline, and this is the heart line. So this portion of the sun line is before the age of 35. This portion is 35 to 53, and this portion is 53 and beyond. You yourself are going to basically uh, you can see it for yourself that the line above the heart line, this particular line is very much strong, deep and clear. And the lines below it, out here between 35 to 53, it is very dim. And out here the line is still okay, better than what you have in from 35 to 53. So the best case scenario for this particular person is going to be after the age of 53, when the sunline becomes good. But it doesn't mean that there would be no success at all before the age of 53. It's not one line that can give you success or failure. It's a combination of each and every line in your palm that can indicate success or failure, and it's each and every mount that matters. And if our mounts are good, if in general things are good, that the chances are that even when we have a dim kind of a sunline, even when we have a dim sign kind of a sunline, still we would be having a good career in spite of that as well. Yeah, dim sunlight basically what it signifies is basically it signifies that the person is having self-doubt, and self-doubt destroys everything. So it is something like when the line is very thin and not visible at all, it signifies that the sun is in this person's case, the sun is not shining bright and it's kind of clouded in the sky, and the person cannot see the sun. It basically what it means is that the person in his room, that there are lots of clouds that have gathered, and the person wants to go out and the person is unable to go out because there are lots of clouds inside the room, so he can't find the path that he has to travel on. So this is what is basically signifies when the sunlight brightens up. It basically signifies that there are absolutely no clouds in the sky, and what it basically means is that the sun is shining bright, and the sun rays are penetrating the earth and the plants are growing at a much faster pace. So what it signifies in this particular person's case is after the age of 35, sorry, 53, that's when the person would be able to give full amount of energies to his work. So this is what is represented by a strong line. Now there are a little bit weaker kind of lines. Those I have already explained. They are weak out here, but still these lines are still much more stronger, and this is the strongest one. This is one part. Now, in practical palmistry, see, you must have read books on palmistry and all these things. Uh, and this they talk about the timings on the sun line. They would say this could be age around 27, this could be age 30, 32, 34, 35, 44, this is 53, and this is beyond. This is the normal course that you would be seeing in the books. But in my case, what I have found that we don't go by the book completely. We just find if the line of sun is deep and clear out here, we straight away say that things are going to be good in this particular person's case. The person's career is going to be good and bright even before the age of 53, because common sense says that suddenly a person's career cannot become good. There's no sudden things. There's some people might call the sun line to be the line of luck. People call it the name and fame line. I don't call this as the name and fame line, nor do I call them as the luck line. I just call them as how much energies the person is able to give to his work. It's all about energies and how much energies we are giving to our work. So this is what is available now under the so just the sun line doesn't have like only one line doesn't mean everything. It's a combination of different lines that bring success or failure. Another planet very important in our life is the Mount of Mercury. Now the Mount of Mercury, you would notice that I'm zooming in and I'm finding that there are 1, 2, and 3 lines out here. There could be a smaller line out here as well, but all of these lines are perpendicular. There's no line that is horizontal. So horizontal lines are negative lines, so those would have been bad kind of lines, but vertical lines are considered to be good lines. Vertical lines basically signify that the person is sharpening their skills. Now the person has more than one line. One of them is strong, the others are comparatively weak. Weaker lines are that the person is not sharpening his skills in those field of areas where the line is comparatively weak. Stronger lines signify that the person is sharpening. Weaker lines means that the person is not sharpening the skills as much. But still, in spite of that, also we would say that there are comparatively less lines on the Mount of Mercury. Lesser lines is always better than more lines. If there were crisscrossing lines, then the person would be miscalculating and miscommunicating. We make losses because we miscalculate and miscommunicate. This is the main thing. And if the person is having lack of skills, but we do not find that grill like formation at all, there are no crisscrossing lines. So in a way, that's a good sign. Having less lines is always better than having more lines. Apart from that, we would also find that there are perpendicular line kind of lines, not one but multiple lines that are kind of pointing towards the Mount of Mercury. See, there are many lines out here. So what it basically signifies, see, in earlier when we read books on palmistry, there's a confusion what to call these lines. Some people call them as the line of skill, the line of Mercury. Some people call them as the line of lever. some people call them as the line of health. So there's a confusion what to call these lines and which one to call them as the health line and which one to call them as the Mercury line. So it's a little bit confusion, but I say that all these lines are basically Mercury lines. All of them are Mercury lines. So Mercury lines basically signify skill, but having too many lines out here means that the person is trying to do too many things. So when the person is trying to skill himself into too many things, the person's mind is getting engaged in too many things. So what's going to happen that when too much of thinking is going happening, so what's going to happen? Uh, the bile is going to get secreted more, and when the bile is getting secreted more, your liver is going to get affected. So the chances for indigestion and all might increase. So this is what is represented. So my advice to this particular person would be to kind of rest one's mind. Resting of mind is required, and resting of mind, what it would do is it would kind of provide benefits to the stomach as well, and things can become good. It is said that all our diseases start from our stomach. So this is my advice to this particular person. As far as the money line goes, this is the money line, and another line and coming and joining into the main money line. Money line is something like a river, and another line joining in is something like another tributary joining into the main river. So more money coming to the person when there's a touch on the main money line out here. So this is the point where benefits happen. So this age could be approximately this is age 35. So this age could be approximately 30. uh, it could be approximately 30, 31. That's when sometimes this line could also mean uh, the person gets benefit from somebody outside. It could also be the timing of one's marriage. So it could be multiple things. Now, somewhere at the age of 30 to 30, 33, 34, that's when another money line basically starts to run parallel to the main money line. So there are one or two parallel lines that are running out here parallel all throughout. So it basically signifies that there could be parallel incomes. It could sometimes the person might say that the person doesn't have any parallel income. It could just signify that it's kind of a pillar of strength. See, there's a building out here and there's only one or two pillars, and if another pillar is added, the building strength basically increases. So same case scenario is in the straight line. When there's another parallel line running, it means another support system that basically comes to this particular person. The head and the lifeline are joined for the at the start for a longer duration of time. It basically signifies caution. It means hard work, and the person is contemplating. So these qualities basically come to this particular person. As far as regarding health also goes, this is the line of life, and there are few downward kind of lines. These are downward kind of lines pointing towards the Mount of Moon. This may signify health related issues, health loss or wealth loss. Downward lines are always bad. Upward lines from the lifeline are always good. So downward lines are happening somewhere close to this particular age, and the age could be approximately 40s. That's the approximate age. I would say that there could be a few troubles. Downward lines basically signify health related issues or wealth related issues, and lines that are pointing towards the amount of moon. The moon is a very, very changeable kind of a planet. It changes every day. The phases change every day. So the lifeline that has got branches downward could also mean not just losses. It could mean the whole perspective of one's life basically is changing, and it is changing because of travel. It could also bring in restlessness in this particular person's behavior, and the whole perception of life basically changes. Moon is basically for travel, and the lifelines branches that point towards the amount of moon may signify restlessness or travel, or both. It could be both. Sometimes we have the money, sometimes we don't have the money. So what happens is basically if we don't have the money, we wouldn't be able to travel. If we have the money, we would travel, but wherever the person is likely to go, the person might still have restless, and the person wouldn't basically stick to one particular place and keep on moving. This is his main desire. Now we take a look at the left hand for a brief moment. and this is the left hand. Now on the left hand also you would find on the lifeline, this is the lifeline, there are few downward kind of branches out here. Downward kind of branches are bad signs that I've already indicated out here. In the right hand I've already indicated. There's one just got one sign. This is the lifeline, and there's a line that is running parallel to the lifeline. This is starting from the Mount of Mars. This is the line of protection. Mars is basically a fighting planet, so it is a line of protection. It protects that particular person from difficult situations, difficult people, and bad health as well. It is something like a armor around this particular person. You would also find that there are few upward kind of lines kind of pointing from the headline or the lifeline pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter. So it's a good sign. It takes a person to a higher position in one's life. In the left hand, you would notice that the money line is broken somewhere before the age of 35, and few backward kind of lines on the headline. This is the headline pointing towards the Mount of Mars is basically anger, aggression, and fire. And anger, aggression, and fire kind of basically disturbs everything, and the person's ability to take the right decisions increase. The person might make wrong decisions due to that anger and aggression. And after the age of this intersection, the head and the money line into this intersection is age 35. Beyond the age of 35, you would notice that there is not one line but two or three parallel lines from the age of 35 to 53. So two or three parallel incomes are likely to develop. You would notice on the left hand that this Mercury Mount is kind of very well padded. Mercury Mount, when well padded, basically signify it's a good sign. Mercury is basically the area of skill, communication. This is also the area of memory. Generally, good teachers, they have this particular area to be well padded, and having less lines is always a good sign. Even without a single perpendicular line, even then, basically, I can say it's with certainty, it's a good sign because it increases the unlimited, it brings in unlimited possibilities. So less lines over the amount of mercury, basically what it does is the person is able to learn things in a very fast way. This is what is represented by no lines over the amount of mercury. It is something like a blackboard. On a blackboard, if nothing is written, like on out here on mercury, if nothing is written, it means you can write on the blackboard anything. You have space to write. But if there are too many lines over mercury, it would signify that there is no space to write on mercury. If you if you write something out here, you have got no space. So lesser lines is always better than more lines. And I would just take a look at the other hand images. If I'm trying to find something significant, that these branches that I was referring to, these could be distractions on the heartline, and distractions are not so good sign. And upward lines that I've already explained to you, upward lines from the mount to the Mount of Jupiter means that the person rises up to a higher position in one's life. And these backward lines could also mean stomach disturbances, and these upward lines from the lifeline is considered to be good. It means pointing towards the finger. It means luck. This is a little bit later period of one's life, and so I would end my video out here. And before I end my video, I would just repeat few things that I repeated in almost all my videos. That is, people want to know about money, possessions, and wealth. Money we can come to know from any possible line. It's not just the money line. Money line can only tell 15% of what the money line is telling you regarding how much money the person is going to make in one's life. So it's not just the money line, your heart line, headline, life, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line or any other amount can tell about money possibilities. I've already explained those things in the video. A saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or palmist to know about your future because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you're doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts, keep good company. That's what matters the most. His question was regarding health point of view. So one last thing, it appears that the amount of Venus is prominent. So when the Venus is prominent padded, there are no negative lines that are appearing out here. So the chances of any recovery become brighter. So the person may have bad health, but still the person recovery is going to be much better. And this because the person has got this is the area of your fuel. So if there's abundant fuel, so the recovery is going to be much more faster. And if there are no bad markings over the amount of Mars, because the person is kind of this area is not disturbed, so the person's anger is very contained, and because it is contained and it is not, the person doesn't get angry over wrong issues. The person may get angry but only on the right issues. So he has got targeted fire. Anger is all about targeted fire. So those are the things that are good in his hand, and that's the reason why bad health is likely not to affect him even if he suffers anything. Thanks for watching this video, and bye and take care.